If your house was on fire, what would you grab? If you were a parent, you would first make sure your children are safe. You would probably follow this by saving your pets, because for most people, pets are just like children. You would grab them because you love them. They are part of your family. They are loyal companions, giving you love and kisses when you need it the most. If my house was on fire, I would grab what I consider to be my two children, Kona and Kane. Kona is a 15-month-old red-nosed pit bull, and Kane is a 7-month-old blue-nosed pit bull. However, how would you feel if the fire engulfed them, ripping them away from you when you least expect it? This is a feeling pit bull owners endure every day as their dogs are taken from them, banned, and even killed solely because of the type of breed they are. In fact, for Denmark resident Dan, this feeling was too hard for him to bear. Dan killed himself once his dog was taken from him and put down. The dog, a pit bull named Xanto, was euthanized when his owner Dan was unable to prove his dog was not the banned breed. Too heartbroken to continue without his loyal companion, Dan took his own life after overdosing on pain medication. For Mike and Amy Johnson of Kansas City, Kansas, their dog, Nico, was taken from them for violating the city's ban against harboring pit bulls. It took 8 months and a DNA test on Nico before the city agreed with what the Johnsons and their paperwork had been saying all along, that Nico was actually a boxer mix. During that time, Nico waited in an animal control kennel, separated from his family for the entire 8 months, losing weight and fur and picking up a cough. Dealing with the dangerous dogs is a problem that has perplexed communities for ages, leading some of them to resort to passing laws banning certain breeds perceived as especially prone to dangerous behavior, usually after a well-publicized attack on a human. The problem with this is the minimalistic media coverage on dog attacks that actually were not associated with pit bulls. In fact, a 2008 report on media bias by the National Canine Research Council compared 4 attacks over a 4-day period, all of which resulted in hospitalization. 3 of the 4 attacks were by other breeds, 1 being a Labrador mix. The stories were ran only once in the local newspaper. The 4th attack, on the other hand, involved a pit bull and was reported in an astonishingly more than 230 articles in national and international newspapers and on the major cable news networks. The efforts to purge certain breeds are perhaps the easiest ways to attempt to reduce the probability of an attack by simply reducing the mere presence of certain types of dogs in a community. But what about Xanto, who was euthanized although he was a sweet, loving dog? Would it surprise you to learn that pit bulls used to be America's darlings? Do you remember Petey from the Little Rascals? Before the mid-'80s, stories of pit bull attacks are practically non-existent. For one thing, despite being illegal in all 50 states, dogfighting made a comeback in the '80s, and the pit bull is the dog of choice. The breed received a bad reputation when they started being used for guarding, breeding, and fighting. However, it wasn't until then that they became known as a dangerous breed. The National Canine Research Council has identified the most common factors found in fatal dog attacks in 2006. 97% of dogs involved were not spayed or neutered. 84% of the attacks involved owners who had either abused or neglected their dogs, failed to contain their dogs, or failed to properly restrain their dogs. 78% of dogs were not kept as pets, but instead as guard, breeding, or yard dogs. So, who do you think should be punished? If pit bulls are raised in the proper manner, just as any other dog breed typically is, Would there be as many breed-specific laws or efforts to ban the breed altogether? Furthermore, if a person keeps a dangerous dog to guard their drugs or property or for fighting purposes, they'll just switch to a different dog breed and train that dog to be dangerous to get around the breed ban. The breed-specific laws accomplish nothing in these types of cases. Having two pit bulls myself, I feel strongly about informing people of the misconception of the pit bull breed. It is important to put a stop to breed-specific laws and pit bull bans, as there are other alternative solutions to keep both the dogs and the public safe. There is no need to euthanize a dog that shows no sign of aggression. There is no need to ban the pit bull breed from certain areas when laws can be put in place that hold owners more accountable. Laws should not be breed specific, they should instead be centered around the actual act of aggression rather than the type of dog committing the act. Therefore, I ask you to consider signing the petition to put an end to passing laws that specifically target the pit bull breed. I ask you to be part of making a positive change, one that will benefit both the dogs and the community. Whatever your stance is on the pit bull dog breed, I hope I have provided enough evidence to someday change the bad reputation. It is important that we come together to put an end to the bullying of this breed.